the other question was for all of the U.S. PERF handicap fleets, the individual is looking for, can I find what methods are used to calculate boat ratings and handicaps? And I think we answered that one before because all PERF fleets tend to do the same thing, which is there's an initial rating for a boat, and we take all of the information we can get from other rating sources, other rating rules, brochures, designs, handicapper measurements, and see where the boat fits in comparatively. U.S. Sailing does publish a big set of books on what the average handicaps are in all of the various areas. They also have kind of picked or a series of boats which are most common and assigned an individual number for them, which kind of takes out any of the regional variation, which, I don't know, you can decide whether that makes sense or not for yourself. And we come up with a rating. And then we look at how the boat performs out there in the wild and adjust the rating over time. That's generally speaking how PERF will determine what a rating is. And I believe we state that fairly clearly in the front end of our handicappers manual about what we do. I've looked at other PERF regions, and they can be as vague as the handicapping board will determine a number based on. It varies around North America. And one of the other questions that this individual was asking was, so who's the ultimate authority for PERF in North America? Because when you go to that U.S. Sailing webpage, it says we are. And this week I've actually had to ask someone who's a member of U.S. Sailing on their technical committee for PERF, how are the rules all set up? So I don't know, Bill, you're way
No,
more involved with U.S.
yes,
Sailing than I
yes,
am.
yes, I am. And
And,
this
and, and I'm going to throw out that Perth Lake, Ontario is a member of U.S. Sailing and Ontario Sailing because, to the best of my knowledge, we're the only binational Perth fleet
well,
in
there's
North
one. No, actually,
America.
I think British Columbia has a
Oh,
binational
sorry, yeah, and Erie probably is as well.
year. Yeah.
There's
So, well,
two on Lake Erie.
this is something that we kind of decided that we would avoid, but I'm going to get into it anyway.
Thank you.
Um, the ultimate when the perf organizations decided to get it to organize. In other words, each perf organization was first established. We had all sorts of little groups geographically around the country. It somehow, and I have yet to been able to exactly determine what the process was, but somehow U.S. Perf under what was at that point the U.S. YRU, U.S. Yacht Racing Union, took all of these perf organizations and put them on under one umbrella. Now, if someone out there has any idea how that got split up or why, I would be very interested. I've contacted, does anybody here know? I mean, I've contacted US Sailing and they don't really have a clear answer for me. Nevertheless, we split, everything split off, and we now have the organizations that we have now, which are separated. That said, US Perf has retained the trademark, copyright, trademark, I guess it would be, of perf organizations. And without getting too involved, they claim that they have the final authority for all perf organizations, including the multinational ones. I know, Bill, you got something to add here. So
Yeah, you did cover that pretty good. You know, North America used to be North America Yacht Racing Union, and then they split into U.S. and Canadian organizations because of basically driven by the Olympics. So that's how they split. And U.S. PHRF said, well, of course, we were always North America. We'll just continue on with this. And so it is a bit up in the air. Now, since each PHRF region is effectively their own rule, because I still haven't been, and Owen's been looking for him as well. Is there a default perf rule? There really hasn't seemed to be a documented one. It's more of an idea. So right now, each organization is their own rule. So PHRF LO is a rule, a class rule. So PHRF LO would be the deciding authority. Having said that, additional interpretations as to how to do that one, there's always another level to go up and say, hey, could you provide input on this? Could you provide guidance as to what is the best way to interpret this? Because, well, I'm not putting tails out of place here, but yeah, there have been discussions at Central Council interpretations on the equipment rules of sailing, saying this is the way it should be. So it's I think it's just life and reality in general. And yes, Bill, you and I will always have that fun discussion. But
Well, I think ultimately it is probably a good idea that we say that, and I agree that we say that Perf Lake Ontario, as far as appeals are concerned, is the ultimate authority. Is
but
there
interpretations, we go,
yeah, is there another way to do it? Yeah, but
there's always another way.
I know, but it's very involved and very expensive, and nobody wants to do it.
Yeah.
So does that, I hope that answers the question. Owen, you have an idea of the nature of that question. Does that probably more information than they needed? Yep, you're muted again, Owen. Owen.
Maybe on purpose.
He keeps tapping the unmute for me, and that blocked my screen.
Technology.
Okay, the quick thing was that I tried to help out with this last week, and what I'm going to say is each of the perf regions has their own set of rules that they run against. I have not been able to find a national level rule in the United States.
Right.
So that's what people are saying. Who do I go to if I don't like the appeals I've gotten and everything? And the answer is your National Sailing Authority. You can go down to US Perf. This individual has never received a response to any query out of US Sailing and their Perf group about what's going on. So
as far as an appeal is concerned?
That's correct of their ratings. So the answer is, I would say,
I really don't know who's in charge over there.
Yeah, I don't either.
I mean, I will say that. I think there's Matt, what's his name, and he's part of it. And Bruce Bingman used to be right on top of that, but he's out. And there's another guy now that I think from Michigan that's part of the head of US Perf for the.
Yes, I've been talking to him to try and sort that out.
I would say that we're probably, I mean, if someone is really, 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 really unhappy, I don't want to hear about it. So that's good.
Well, listen, everyone deserves to be treated respectfully by the organizations that we pay into.
Does that mean you have something to add to this?
So,
even if the answer is no.
Okay.